Hi friends and welcome back. Today we're going to be trying out a new card kit and this one is by White Rose Crafts. I'll leave a link below and you can check out their page. This is their May card kit which is no longer available, but they do have they do new card kits every month, so you can check them out. And I get 3 card kits a month. 2 will never change, Simon Says, and Spellbinders. And the third one I'm going to kind of rotate around and kind of try out some new card kits. So this will be my first time using this one, and I did get a 3-month subscription, so you'll see 3 of these. So here's what comes in the kit, and this is a coffee themed kit. We've got some papers by Echo Park called Coffee, and these are double-sided papers. And like I said, I think I said you get 12 of them. So it's basically like half a sheet. And these are all the little designs on there. I love that paper. This is also, you get a card base from Jelly Bean Soup with a little coffee thing in it to make your shaker cards. We're going to use that. You also get a couple other card bases in here, some different sized cards with envelopes, ones I don't usually use, but I'm going to use them today. And another one with the nice coffee colored. You get the Nouveau drops, and those ones are in caramel cream. You also get this geometric coffee washi tape. This is a blend that's called Caffeinated, and it's by Doodles Paper Playground, and it's got it's got little seed beads in there and everything. Of course, you get some Doodle Pop coffee. These are like little paper clips that you get, and then here's some mulberry paper hearts. This stamp set is called Moo Brew, and it's a Little Acres stamp set. Super adorable. You also get, put that to the side, you get a full 12 by 12 sticker sheet that matches your paper from Echo Park. This is some mulberry paper in like a cream color, and then this is just a nice big 12 by 12 of American Crafts coffee paper. And then here's all your ephemera. So we're going to start out by making the shaker card. So like I said, I'm going to try to use everything in this kit so that you can see everything. I did cut out from that coffee paper both things. So I'm going to use the center of it and the frame. So that's why you saw 2 together. I'm also going to use washi tape on this one. So I'm going to use that geometric tape, and I'm going to cut it down with my jagged edge scissors to give it that kind of neat edge on it. And I'm also going to use some of my washi tape that I think goes with it that's kind of sparkly, and you can see it kind of up there off to the top, and I'm going to trim all of it down. So I find these pre-made shaker card things like this really hard for me to use because I don't know how to decorate them. Unless I have the die to cut out paper on the outside, I really just don't know what to do. So this is me just kind of trying to figure out how I wanted to make the shaker. So I put the square behind of that same paper that I made the frame from, one of my little ephemera pieces back there, and then I'm going to place this just from my stash. A little piece of acetate behind it, so that way you can see the coffee cup behind it and the little sentiment, and then the shaker on the inside. Now I'm going to use my frame and I'm going to glue that down. And then at this point I'm like, this is still too bare. I need more stuff on the outside because it's just not sparkly enough. So I grabbed a sentiment. This one was kind of tag shaped, and I cut it down and then I backed it on a piece of cardstock covered in the glittery washi tape. And I'm also going to put some of the sequins down, and then that I will call it good. At this point now I'm happy with it. So there it is. Give you a close up of that one. And then we're going to move on to card number 2. So for this card, I had already cut out and colored a couple of these cows so that we can use them, and I also used some of the glossy accents on his glasses so he's nice and shiny. I've cut out all of my so I'm going to use the dark brown card base that came in the kit. I'm also going to use the patterned paper, and I'm going to make like a little table or counter, like a coffee counter for him to be sitting on. So I'm just going to kind of start attaching all of that, trim everything down. And then this is where he's going to sit to drink his coffee. And I'm also going to use some white embossing powder. And I'm going to heat emboss myself a sentiment for this using those, the sentiments that came on the stamp set. And trim those down into strips. And now I'm just going to start putting my card together. So here I'm just going to place down my little cow in his spot. And for him, I'm going to pop him up on his little coffee counter. And I want to put the clips. So there's a coffee and a donut, and I want to attach them um, because I said I want to use everything, and I was trying to figure out how to use this, and then I thought this might be like really cute if I frame it around the little cow. So I'm just trying to figure out where I'm going to place them and how I'm going to place them. And because it's a paper clip, you got to kind of shove it behind something. So I decided I would first place down my little cow so I knew exactly where he was going to go and the sentiment before I start cutting into my paper. I'm going to put him down. Now this is straight down onto the paper. I did not pop this one up. And now I'm just going to mark and take that over to my little mat and cut a little hole in it, just a slit with my X-Acto knife, and then you can slide in your little paper clips. Mark the other ones, do the same thing with the donut in the other corner. And then I've got my little coffee cup and my donut. Place my sentiment, I'm going to pop that one up. And it says mocha as sweet as cowpuccino, which is adorable. The stamp set makes this whole kit just like awesome. I'm going to Wink a Stella up my coffee cup, add a few more of these little sequins because I've got a ton left over, and that will call it good. For card number 3, I had these little coffee wooden pieces that have been sitting in my stash forever, and so I took one of the coffee cups and I used some of the distress ink on it, kind of roughed it up. I also used the little hearts stamp that came in the stamp set, and I made put the little heart stamp in the middle. I've cut out all of my papers using some stitch square dies. I'm going to stack them on top of each other. This is the cream mulberry paper, which I've also just cut down a piece. I really didn't know what to do with it because it's kind of weird looking, but I went with it. Just going to place down, kind of doing my standard layering here. This is where I go to when I'm really not sure what to do with something. So this is an awkward sized card for me to use, so I just kind of revert back to old standards for myself. I'm also going to put, that has fun foam behind it, so it's popped up with fun foam, and now I'm just going to glue down my little coffee cup to the corner, take some of those mulberry hearts and glue them down to the top. Sometimes using everything in a kit can be really challenging, especially if you're fresh out of ideas. I'm going to take some of the Nouveau drops and caramel cream and place them around the card, and that will be it. Close up of this one. Now for card number 4, of course I'm going to use my Doodle Pop because I have to. I love these things. And I'm going to use that like coffee signs background for it, but I wanted to do something a little different. So I'm going to use my mat and figure out where I want to cut, and I'm just going to cut it in half because I don't know. I just want to do something different. Sometimes you just gotta cut the paper. So what I decided to do with this was I wanted some of that same sparkly washi tape it's kind of like coffee color. It's a really dark brown color, and I wanted it in the middle of that paper right there. So what I'm going to do is take just a strip of the washi tape. I'm going to use the dark one. I'm just going to place it down on my mat. And then attach my paper right to the edge. And then place it on my card so that I have just a strip of that sparkly washi tape behind it. Do the same thing with the top. And then I've got a couple of oval dies that I use the dark coffee color on the bottom, a white on the top, and then I cut another piece, some of that green. It was like a leftover from the back side of one of these pages, just so my coffee cup had something to sit on. I didn't want him just kind of hang it out there. And then place his little beans around him. I popped this up with some tape. I'm also going to make this a fishtail banner all the way and pop that up as well. And it says, I love coffee a lot. I'm also going to add some of the drops to this as well, but you really can't see it very well, so I could have skipped this part. Really kind of got to look for them in that background, but I think this card came out super cute. Anything Doodlebug is okay by me anyway. So here's a close-up of this one. Adorable. And on to card number 5. So I wanted to try out one of my new that stitched die set that I got at the Scrapbook Expo, and that's by Art Impressions. And I'm going to, that's just craft cardstock, and then I dry embossed it with that embossing folder. Sorry, distracted by my dog. I've got some seam binding that is also dyed in kind of like a coffee-ish color. I've taken one of the sheets, cut it in half, and then flipped one of them over. So you'll see the one side. So it's basically I'm not wasting any paper. And then just flipped it over, and now here's the other side of it on the other side of paper. And I did, prior to cutting that down, I did cut it down with my stitch rectangle die, so that way it was perfectly sized for the inside. I'm going to add my reinforcer that I also cut out of that same paper. And then this is like the little coffee scene that's on one of the pieces of the 6x6 paper. You also have a stamp, not stamp, a sticker of that as well, but I used what was on the paper because I was already cutting that down. And then one of the signs, sticker signs, that I'm going to back on some brown cardstock and pop that up on the tag. And then I'm trying to figure out what I want to put on the side there because I know I wanted a coffee cup, but that one was way too big. And there's another smaller like teacup on the side that I'm going to use instead on the side there. And then I attached my seam binding to the top of my tag, and then I'm just going to place my tag. I am going to pop that up also with some fun foam. Now I'm still looking around to see what I want to do, so I'm going to add some more of the sequins and then some more of the caramel cream drops all over the tag. I kind of put them in between the coffee cups, even though it looks really random, but when you look at it closer, you can see that they're in between the coffee cups. And that's it. So for card number 6, super kind of interesting card. So this is a gift card holder little slot maker. So I'm going to attach that to a brown piece of the cardstock. And I think that one's actually got a name. I want to say it's American Crafts Cardstock in Coffee. So that's that one that I've been using throughout all these different cards. And this is what it makes, that little holder. And that holder came in one of my Spellbinders kits. So I thought I would use it here. And I'm going to make a couple of tags out of this. So that one has the card holder behind it. I'm just going to trim it down to tag size. And then the black tag, which was a sticker, I also backed on that same dark cardstock. And now I'm going to make a card with some pockets. So there's going to be 2 pockets on the front, which is where we're going to hold those tags. And I'm just going to use my mat and kind of figure out where I want my slits to go for my pockets. And I'm going to trim them down. And my challenge here was, because at this point I'm starting to run low on the 6x6 cardstock, the pattern paper, I'm sorry, not cardstock. So it's try to figure out how to use one piece of the paper, the pattern paper, on this card. So you'll see me figuring that out right now. So now I need to make my second pocket. And I'm just cutting these pocket pieces, or just out of, from my stash I have my card bases, which are 110 pound. So I just cut up one of those and I'm using it as the pockets. Trim that one down. And now I'm going to place my first pocket on my card, trim that. So this is one 6x6 piece of paper. So once I cut it down to 4¼ by 5½, you have that other like 2-inch piece off to the side, and I'm going to bring that in for the middle. So I'm trying to figure out here how am I going to cut this, but I need it for behind so that it'll be like every other, and there's that piece that I cut off originally that I'll use for the back. And now I'm just going to attach all of these to my pockets. And then I'm also going to place the checkered side, which is the back side of that same piece of pattern paper. I'm going to attach that to the middle pocket, or the top pocket, I should say. There's only two, so top and bottom pocket. Some tape on there. Now I'm just going to place that down, then trim it off, trim off all my edges. And then I managed to use only one piece of 6x6 paper for this card, which I was actually surprised because I was kind of stressed out about it. So this is what this is going to look like. And then we need to place the other piece on the top. So I'm going to place that down, and then I realized I still need my other piece on top. I'm also going to need to make sure that this isn't so deep that I'll lose my tags in there. So I'm making a little mark, place down my last piece of pattern paper, and I'm going to tape right where that mark is to make sure that my tag doesn't fall any further than that. And then also on 3 sides, and then just place it on my card. And this is right directly onto my card base. Do the same thing with this one, attach it on 3 sides, and put it on the top. And now my tags will fit without going too far. Now we just need to finish decorating the front of the card. And I've got a little sentiment there off to the side. And I'm going to back it on some cardstock and place it right in the middle. I love that little sentiment that's on there. Today's plan, drink coffee and be awesome. I'm also going to use the little Frappuccino cup. And I took the heart sticker with the coffee beans and I trimmed it down to put it in the middle. Add my seam binding to the tops of my tags. And that is pretty much it. There it is. Cute little card to give a gift card to somebody for, like a coffee card, Starbucks or whatever. For this one, I wanted to do a chalkboard. So I'm using black cardstock and my Nuvo embossing ink, and now I'm using the white embossing powder, and I've already heat set that, ready to go. I've got another cow right there up at the top that's already colored and cut out. And now I'm going to take a piece of chalk, rub it all over my black cardstock because I want to make this look like a chalkboard. It's just an easy way to make it look like one. And just kind of lightly rub it off. And now I'm going to use a black card base and the little coffee beans paper. Use that as my little spot for my cow and pop it up with some fun foam. I also popped up the chalkboard piece in the middle. Now we're just going to place my little cow in there. Just trying to figure out where I want to put him. And then adhere him down to the pattern paper. These cows are so adorable. I could color them all day. And now I'm just trying to figure out what I want to put next to the cow. I thought I wanted that, but then I'm looking at the sticker sheet and I decided I wanted to use the But First Coffee flags that came on the sticker sheet. And I think that's adorable. I think out of all the cards, this one is absolutely my favorite. Just going to add some more of these Nuvo drops to this one. Then we'll call it good. And that's going to finish off this card. I think, yeah, for sure this one's my favorite. I love this one. But first, coffee. Nice close up of that one. And now for card number 8, I want to use the little chalkboard signs that are um, on one of the pattern papers. So I'm just going to trim these all down. I've got some green, like basically like a spare piece of the green um, pattern paper there. Trying to figure out which ones I want to use on my card. And I'm just going to mount each one of these little chalkboard things on the green paper and then trim them down. Just kind of like framing each one of them. And then I'm going to place my pattern paper down on my base. I also grabbed a coffee sticker from the sticker sheet, and I'm going to mount that also on some black cardstock, trim it down, and put that on there. That's also popped up with some fun foam. And then I'm going to pop up each one of these little guys with some fun foam, the little signs, and put those up. And then there's, on the sticker sheet is the little coffee waitress, which I'm also going to pop her up on some little foam adhesive. And then I'm going to use, finally, I'm going to use that coffee heart that I kept trying to put on all the cards, and finally figured out where I wanted to put it. And that's going to finish off that card. For card number 9, super simple card. I just backed one of the ephemera pieces on some green cardstock that came from my stash, and I matched it to the green that's in the coffee sign right there. I'm gonna place that down on my card base. I also grabbed a piece of the pattern paper. I cut it with a stitched rectangle die and then cut it in half. And this is just a little strip that's going to go across the middle. Sometimes if you just need a quick and easy card, these kits are really a good way to go, because you can whip out some cards pretty fast with just some basic stuff that comes in the kits. So I'll just pop that up and that's it. We're done. Super fast card. There's a close up. And for card number 10, I really like that whole chalkboard thing, so I'm going to do it again, this time with the cow and a little sentiment underneath. Use my embossing bag on my black cardstock. Going to use the white embossing powder again. Always do this twice. I'm always afraid I'm going to miss a spot. Going to go heat set that. I love Moo, Brew, and You. And now I'm going to start putting my card together. So I picked out a pattern paper, pretty much, I think I only had like 2 or 3 pieces left to choose from, so this is the one I decided with all the little coffee treats on it. I'm going to place that on my card base, and then I need to trim this guy down a little bit because he's too big. Pop it up on some fun foam, and then I'm going to put that right in the middle of my card. And then I'm going to use my chalk. Oops, I'm sorry. I'm going to line it with the white pen, and then I did the chalk again all over it and wiped it off. And now I'm using some white Nuvo drops, which I think they're called Simply White, and I hadn't used them in a while, so they were really thick. So I tapped them all down. They ended up being okay, but I kind of wish I didn't do that. But too late now. And that's going to complete card number 10. So this is it. This is all 10 cards for this kit. I still have some supplies left over, not a ton. I used quite a bit of what was in there, and I'm just going to kind of run through all 10 cards right now. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. And if you have any suggestions for other card kits that you may want to see, like I said, I got 2 more of these kits coming from White Rose Crafts. I'll leave the link below if you want to go check out their subscription. And then, like I said, if you've got any other card kit ideas for me for after this one is done, I would really appreciate finding out about them and giving them a try. So again, thanks so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you again real soon. Have a great day. Bye bye.